Ryan never expected his life to change the day he moved into dorm room 17B on the Interspecies Academy's quiet satellite campus. The academy was built to bring peace between humans and alien species after years of cold silence. Now, students from across the galaxy shared rooms, classes, and even meals. Still, not everyone was ready for such close connections. Ryan had just finished his first week. His new roommate, Lyra, was quiet almost too quiet. She was tall and slender with soft, glowing lines across her arms and neck. Her silver eyes always seemed distant. She barely spoke and avoided eye contact. She didn't seem rude, just scared or unsure. Their room had two beds, one on each side. Lyra's side was always neat. She spent most of her time sitting cross-legged on her bed or reading strange glowing texts. She only left when the hallway was empty. Ryan tried starting small talks but only got short replies. She kept her distance, and Ryan gave her space. One night, after a long study session in the library, Ryan came back exhausted. The hallway lights flickered like always. He threw his bag on the chair and collapsed onto his bed. Lyra was already there, sitting as usual, quietly staring out the window. Ryan waved tiredly and pulled the blanket over his shoulders. Within minutes, he was asleep. Sometime deep in the night, Ryan stirred. He didn't know why he woke up. Maybe it was a sound. Maybe it was just a feeling. But when he opened his eyes, he saw something strange. Lyra was sitting on the edge of his bed. Her back was straight, her eyes wide. Her glowing lines pulsed softly in the darkness. Ryan blinked, confused. Lyra, he whispered. She didn't move. For a few seconds, neither of them spoke. Are you okay? He asked again, slowly sitting up. Finally, she turned her head slightly and said in a soft voice, "Something's wrong." Ryan frowned. "What do you mean?" "The air," she whispered. "It's shaking." He looked around. The room looked normal. No sounds, no strange lights. Everything was still. "Did you have a bad dream?" he asked gently. She shook her head. "My people, we feel waves. Danger comes like a ripple before it touches. I felt it just now. Near us." Ryan had heard that some alien species had strange senses, like how certain birds on Earth could sense earthquakes. He wanted to believe her, but nothing seemed wrong. Still, the look in her eyes made him uneasy. "Should we alert security?" he asked. Lyra didn't answer. She just sat there, tense, as if listening to something only she could hear. A deep hum suddenly passed through the room, very faint, but clear enough to feel in Ryan's chest. He jumped. "Okay, what was that?" Lyra stood up quickly. "They're here." "Who's they?" he asked, heart racing. "The shadows. They move between cracks in time. They feed on minds that dream too loud. You want to run that by me?" Again, before she could answer, the room lights blinked twice, then went out. Pitch black. Ryan froze. "Stay near me," she said calmly. "Don't speak. Don't fear." He barely understood her words, but her calm tone helped him stay still. He felt her fingers touch his wrist, cool and steady. Outside the room, footsteps echoed slow and heavy. Ryan could feel them through the floor. Not boots, not shoes, more like something dragging, something smooth, sliding. A soft click came from their door. Then another. The lock light turned green. Ryan held his breath. The door opened a crack. A whispering sound entered, like 100 small voices calling from a distance. Lyra's glow brightened slightly, wrapping them both in soft blue light. "What do we do?" Ryan whispered. "I must see them," Lyra said. She reached under her own bed and pulled out a small metal device with strange carvings. She pressed something on it. A field of soft, humming light surrounded the room like a bubble. As the door fully opened, Ryan saw shapes, dark, tall figures, almost like smoke. They paused, confused by the barrier. One of them pressed a shadowy hand against it. The field sparked. Lyra stood between Ryan and the door. "They don't belong here," she whispered. "But they always return." After a moment, the shadows pulled back. The door slowly closed on its own. The lights blinked back to life. Silence. Ryan sat frozen, What the hell just happened? Lyra sat back on the edge of his bed, her glow faded again. You were dreaming loud, she said softly. That's how they found us. Ryan blinked. So this is my fault? No, she said, almost smiling for the first time. You just knew. Now you know. He stared at her for a moment, then lay back on the bed, wide awake. He didn't sleep again that night. And Lyra didn't leave his side. The next morning came slowly. Sunlight slipped through the thin curtains, but Ryan had barely slept. He kept staring at the door, half expecting those shadowy creatures to return. But they didn't. Lyra was still sitting near his bed, quiet as always. Her glow had faded back to a soft, dim blue. She looked calm now, but her eyes were sharp, like she was listening to things no one else could hear. Ryan finally sat up, rubbing his eyes. Okay, he said. So, what were those things? Lyra looked at him. They are called silence feeders. Most species don't see them. They follow dreams, strong thoughts, or fear. And last night, they followed me. She nodded. Why? Meet humans dream loudly. Your thoughts are bright, even when you sleep. They noticed. Ryan frowned. But why didn't the Academy warn us about them? Lyra stood and began folding her blanket. Because not everyone believes they exist. Only a few species know the signs. Mine is one of them. Ryan leaned back against the wall. So what? Now, are they gone? They are not gone. They are waiting. He didn't like the sound of that. Lyra walked to her side of the room and opened a small drawer. She took out a thin crystal and held it to her forehead. It glowed gently. She whispered something in her language. The air around her shimmered for a moment. What are you doing? Ryan asked. Calling my elder. She must know they've reached the Academy. Ryan stood. If this is that serious, we should tell someone, right? The staff, the security team. They will not listen, she replied. They never do. They say these are just stories from old times. But you have proof, he said. Those things came into our room, and no camera recorded them. The lights went out. The Academy will call it a system error. Ryan sighed. So what do we do? Lyra looked at him, her voice soft, but strong. We stay together. I can sense them. You distract them. I distract them, yes. They like human minds. If they follow you, I can see where they are. Ryan raised an eyebrow. You want to use me as bait, not bait, shielded signal. He laughed nervously. Same thing. But part of him agreed. If those things were re-land after last night, he believed that then someone had to stop them. Later that day, Ryan and Lyra went to class together for the first time. Students from many worlds filled the large learning chamber. Some had wings. Others had extra arms or strange markings across their faces. Ryan noticed how a few of them looked tired. Very tired. One student, a green-skinned boy with 2 sets of eyes, was sleeping at his desk. The teacher didn't wake him. Another student sat in the back, shivering even though the room was warm. They came to others too, Lyra whispered. Ryan nodded slowly. We're not the only ones. After class, they visited the library. Lyra searched the old records. She found a dusty file marked Phase Echoes, classified. The pages told stories from over 100 years ago, stories of creatures that moved through thoughts and space, appearing only during moments of fear and weakness. See? Lyra said, this happened before. Why didn't the Academy do something about it? They did. They built light barriers and quiet chambers. But over time, people forgot. They thought the threat was gone. Until now. That night, Ryan placed a small sensor on the wall, one of the tools Lyra gave him. It would flash red if anything crossed into their room uninvited. They also placed one near the door and another near the ceiling vent. Do they come from the vents? Ryan asked. They come from between, she replied. Walls, vents, shadows. Any space not watched. He didn't fully understand, but he trusted her. Before sleeping, Ryan looked at Lyra. Thanks for staying with me last night. She tilted her head slightly. I didn't want you to be alone. He smiled. Do you always protect your roommates? Like this? I never had a roommate before, she said softly. As night fell, the silence deepened. No wind, no hums from the hallway. Even the lights outside their window looked dimmer than usual. Ryan lay on his bed, eyes open. He listened for any sound. Lyra sat on her side again, her eyes closed but alert. Hours passed. The red sensor flashed. Ryan sat up. Lyra. She was already moving, holding the light device again. This time, they were ready. The red sensor blinked. Steadily, something had entered the room again. Ryan sat up quickly, his heart pounding. Lyra, they're back. Lyra stood silently, already holding the small glowing device in her hand. Her skin shimmered faintly, and the soft blue lines on her arms grew brighter. She didn't look afraid, just focused. Stay near me, she said. Ryan got out of bed and stepped toward her. The sensor flashed again. Then, without warning, the lights in the room flickered and shut off, just like the night before. Total darkness. This time, Ryan was ready. He didn't move. He didn't speak. He listened. Then came the same soft hum. It was low, like a vibration in the bones. It came from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. And then, the whispers. They sounded like voices, but Ryan couldn't understand the words. They were close, closer than before. Lyra raised her hand and activated the glowing device. A thin light shield spread across the room. It covered the walls and ceiling like a soft dome. They are testing us, Lyra whispered. What do they want? Ryan asked. To feed. The shadows appeared again, sliding through the cracks under the door. They moved slowly, not rushing like before. Their forms were darker this time, more solid. They floated above the floor, looking like twisted clouds with no shape. Ryan felt pressure in his head, like something was digging through his thoughts. He squeezed his eyes shut. They're inside my mind. Don't let them see your fear, Lyra said. She placed her hand on his back. Her touch was cool and calming. Suddenly, one of the shadow creatures rushed at them. It hit the light barrier and bounced back, shrieking in a strange high-pitched sound. The rest of them moved back slowly, confused. They can't stay long in this light, Lyra said. But if we leave it, they will follow. The shadows circled outside the shield. They were learning. Ryan could feel it. One of them touched the wall where Ryan kept his drawings. It passed over them, and they crumbled into dust. They're destroying things connected to your mind, Lyra said. They're trying to weaken you. How do we stop them? He asked. Lyra hesitated. I need a stronger pulse. The Academy Vault has a core crystal. If I touch it with this device, I can make the shield 10 times stronger. Then let's go get it, Ryan said. They'll follow. So we run fast. Lyra looked at him. You're brave. Not really. Just don't want my brain turned into soup. She almost smiled. The shield shimmered as the device powered down. The room dimmed. Ryan grabbed a small light from his desk drawer, and they slipped out into the hallway. The academy was quiet to quiet. The lights above flickered slightly. Ryan and Lyra moved quickly. Their footsteps soft. As they passed dorm rooms, Ryan glanced through the small windows. In one room, he saw a student curled up on the floor, shivering. Another had strange symbols drawn on the walls. Some rooms were empty, but the beds were messy, like people had left in a rush. It's spreading. Ryan said, Yes, Lyra answered. The silence feeders grow fast. They've already touched many minds. They reached the elevator. It didn't work. Power was down. We used the stairs, Lyra said. They rushed down to floors and reached the vault room. It was locked by a code. I don't know the code, Ryan said. Lyra placed her hand on the panel. Her skin lit up and glowed across the surface. The lock clicked open. Ryan stared. How did you? My people helped build this vault. We always knew it might be needed again. They entered. The room was small, filled with glowing crystals and stored energy cores. Lyra moved to a tall blue crystal in the center. She placed the device on it. A wave of light burst out, spreading through the floor like lightning. Outside, something screamed. They felt that, Ryan said. Good, Lyra whispered. But suddenly, the room grew cold. From the floor, one large shadow rose. It was taller than the others. It had eyes red and glowing. Ryan stepped back. This one is old, Lyra said. He leads them. The shadow stretched toward them. Ryan felt his knees weaken. He tried to speak but couldn't. Lyra raised her hand and shouted in her language. The crystal burst with another wave of energy. The shadow hissed and vanished. The lights returned. The pressure was gone. Ryan gasped for air. Is it over? Lyra shook her head. Not yet, but now we can fight back. The next morning, the academy was buzzing with confusion. Students whispered in hallways. Staff members checked systems again and again. But no one could explain the strange energy wave that pulsed through the entire building. Some said it was just a power test. Others believed it was something more. But no one had any proof. Only Ryan and Lyra knew the truth. They returned to their room in silence. Ryan sat on his bed, staring at the wall where his drawings had been. Now, there was nothing left but a black mark, as if something had burned through the surface. Those shadows, they don't just scare you, he said. They erase parts of your mind. Lyra nodded. They feed on memory and emotion. They take small pieces until nothing is left. Ryan swallowed hard. How come no one else knows? They don't see it happen. It starts with bad dreams, then fear, then silence. People forget who they are, what they love. When it's too late, they don't remember anything at all. He looked at her. And you've seen this before. Once, when I was a child, on my home planet, it happened to my sister. Ryan sat up straighter. What happened to her? Lyra's voice turned low. She stopped speaking. She forgot our names. She forgot who she was. The elders sent her far away to protect the rest of us. I never saw her again. The room grew quiet. Ryan didn't know what to say. He just sat there, watching Lyra as she folded her blanket again. She always folded it the same way, slow and careful, with smooth hands. Finally, he said, we have to stop them. Lyra looked up. We can't do it alone. We need others who believe. That afternoon, they began searching for signs in the academy. They walked through different sections, dorms, labs, study halls, looking for anyone who seemed affected. They carried a small sensor that lit up if it sensed shadow energy. In the science hall, they met a girl named Maya. She was human too, but older. Her eyes were tired and her voice was slow. She said her roommate hadn't spoken in days. Ryan showed her the device. It blinked red when held near her room. It's them, Lyra said. Your roommate is already touched. Maya didn't argue. She simply nodded. I knew something was wrong. They explained everything about the shadows, about the light device, and the core crystal. Maya listened closely and agreed to help. She used to work in the tech lab and offered to upgrade the sensor so it could detect deeper signals. We need more people like her, Ryan said later as they walked. We will find them, Lyra replied. Some already feel the truth. They just need someone to say it out loud. By the end of the day, they had a small team, 6 students from different species, all of whom had noticed strange things happening in their rooms or with their friends. They called themselves the Light Circle. That night, the group met secretly in the old meditation room, deep underground. It was built with stone and had no cameras. They lit soft lamps and placed the upgraded sensor in the center. It began to blink almost right away. They're close, Lyra said. Maya pulled out a small screen showing a map of the academy. The sensor was now tracking shadow movement. They're moving through the western wing, she said. Slow, but steady. That's where the storage labs are. Ryan added, no one stays there at night. Lyra stood. Then that's where they're hiding. The group made a plan. They would split into pairs and place light devices at key points to trap the shadows and stop them from moving. They only had 3 devices, so they had to be smart. Ryan and Lyra were assigned the lower hall near the cooling systems. Are you sure you're ready for this? Maya asked Ryan. He nodded. As ready as I'll ever be. Before they left, Lyra handed him a small metal band. Wear this. It connects your energy to mine. He slipped it onto his wrist. It warmed up, and he felt a soft buzz, like someone whispering far away. Lyra placed a matching band on her own arm. You'll feel what I feel, she said. And I'll feel you. Ryan looked at her. You trust me that much? Yes, she said. You stay with me. Now I stay with you. Together, they headed into the dark hallway. The device in hand, yes. Hatto's already waiting. The hallway near the cooling systems was colder than the rest of the academy. The lights above flickered weakly, and each step echoed far too loud. Ryan and Lyra moved slowly, side by side, holding the light device between them. The metal bands on their wrists glowed faintly. Ryan could feel her calm, steady energy through the band. It helped push away the fear building in his chest. How close are they? Ryan whispered. Very close, Lyra replied, eyes scanning the shadows. They are hiding, watching. The hallway had storage rooms on each side. Most doors were locked, but a few were slightly open. One door creaked softly as they passed. Ryan flinched, then forced himself to keep walking. We placed the device here, Lyra said. Stopping near a vent that hummed with cold air. Ryan placed it on the ground and activated it. A soft light spread in a circle around them. The hum of the machine grew louder, and the shadows at the far end of the hallway seemed to shift slightly. They felt that, Ryan said. Good, Lyra said. They know we are not afraid. But fear was still there just below the surface. Ryan could feel it crawling in his stomach. Even with Lyra beside him, even with the device glowing, something about the air felt wrong. Like the shadows were breathing. Suddenly, a loud clang echoed from one of the rooms behind them. Ryan turned. What was that? Before she could answer, the shadows moved. They flowed down the hall like dark smoke, fast and silent. The air turned heavy. Ryan felt pressure in his head. His thoughts became slow and cloudy. Stay with me, Lyra said. Her hand touched his arm. The glow from her skin surged through the band on his wrist. His mind cleared slightly. The shadows hit the light field, hissing and pulling back. But one figure didn't stop. It pushed against the field, its form changing. A long, thin arm reached forward. The light flickered. It's stronger than before, Lyra said. This one is fed recently. What do we do? Ryan asked, stepping back. We hold the line. Lyra stepped in front of him, raising her glowing hand. She spoke in her native tongue. The words were sharp and rhythmic. The light from the device turned blue, brighter than before. The shadows screamed and pulled back. It vanished into the wall like smoke disappearing into a crack. But it wasn't over. A second figure appeared behind them, rising from the floor. Ryan turned just in time to see it stretch toward Lyra. Without thinking, he jumped forward and pushed her aside. The shadow hit him instead. His vision blurred. His ears rang. He couldn't move. He saw images of his childhood, his family, his favorite places. And then those memories started fading, like pages burning in a fire. No, not again, Lyra thought. Watching him collapse, she stepped forward and grabbed Ryan's wrist. Her glow flared bright white. Her energy flowed through the band into his body. You won't take him, she whispered. A shockwave burst from her hand. The shadow shrieked and flew back, crashing into the wall and vanishing. Ryan gasped and opened his eyes. What happened? He asked weakly. You were falling, Lyra said. I pulled you back. I saw my memories. They were disappearing. They were trying to erase you, she said. But you're stronger now. Ryan sat up slowly. That was intense. They are afraid of you now, Lyra said. You fought back. The light field stabilized. Again, no more shadows came. For now, the hallway was safe. They stood together, breathing hard. The energy bands on their wrists still glowing. Are the others okay? Ryan asked. We have to check. Lyra said, we must finish the traps. They moved quickly to the next location, where Maya and another student were placing the second light field. When they arrived, Maya looked shaken. We have visitors too, she said. One of them tried to speak. It said your name. My name? Ryan asked. She nodded. It said, give us the loud dreamer. Lyra stepped forward. They want you, but not because you're weak, because your mind shines. It's rare. So what now? Ryan asked. Now, Lyra said, we lead them into a trap. Ryan's breathing was still uneven. The shadows had touched his mind, and even now, he could feel the echo of it, cold, heavy, like someone had walked through his memories without permission. He leaned against the wall, wiping sweat from his forehead. Lyra stood beside him, quiet but alert. Her skin glowed faintly, and her eyes were watching the shadows carefully. The light field was holding for now, but it wouldn't last forever. "You okay?" she asked in her soft voice. "Yeah, I think so," Ryan said. They were inside. "My head. I saw my mom, my dad, my dog." And then it started to fade. It felt like they were pulling those memories away. Lyra nodded. "That's what they do. They feed on the warmest memories, the ones that shine the most. They don't just want to scare you. They want to empty you." He shivered at her words. "How did you stop them?" he asked. "Our bond." She replied. "The energy band linked. Our minds. I saw what you saw. I pulled you out." Ryan looked down at the glowing band on his wrist. "So, it's like a lifeline." "Yes, but it only works if both people trust each other." Ryan gave a small laugh. "Well, I definitely trust you now." She looked at him with a calm expression. "Then we are stronger together." They continued, walking through the lower level, making their way toward the last hallway. This one was even darker than the others. The lights overhead were broken. Everything was lit only by the small sensor in Lyra's hand. They turned the final corner and saw the students standing there, Maya and Jill. One of the alien students with pale green skin and large dark eyes. "We set the trap," Maya said, pointing to the wall. "But the shadows didn't try to stop us. They were just watching." "They're planning something," Lyra said. Joel spoke in a soft tone. "We heard voices. They were whispering his name." He looked at Ryan. "They want you." Ryan's heart dropped a little. "Why me again? Your mind is bright," Lyra answered. "They are drawn to it. They fear it, but also want to take it." Maya stepped forward. "So if they want Ryan, maybe we can use that." "What do you mean?" Ryan asked. "A trap," Maya said. "A real one. We let them think they've caught you. We surround them with energy fields, cut them off from each other. Too risky," Jill said. "What if they hurt him before we can stop them?" Ryan looked at the group. "I can do it." "No." Lyra said instantly. "You pulled me out once," Ryan said. "You'll do it again. And if this helps stop them, then it's worth it." Lyra looked uncertain. She stepped closer to him. "I won't let them take you." "I know," he said with a small smile. "That's why I'm not scared." The team set up their final plan that night. They chose an abandoned study room with only one door and no windows. The group placed 3 energy traps around it, if activated at the same time. The light fields would form a circle strong enough to hold even the older shadow forms. Ryan sat in the middle of the room with the energy band on his wrist. He closed his eyes and let his thoughts wander about home, family, Earth, laughter. He imagined all the good things he could. Memories full of warmth. Soon, the temperature dropped. Lyra's single quotes as voice came through the comm. "They're coming." The shadows appeared through the floor like smoke, curling and twisting. 3, 5, then more. Their whispering filled the air. One stepped forward, larger than the rest. Its shape was long and thin, like a tall shadow in the fog. Ryan opened his eyes slowly. "I know you're here," he said calmly. "You don't belong here." The large shadow moved closer. "Give us the light," it whispered, "and we'll leave." Ryan stood up. "I am the light." At that moment, Lyra's voice rang out. "Now." The energy traps activated all at once. Light shot up round the room, forming a bright dome. The shadows screamed, trying to escape, but the barrier held. Ryan stepped back toward Lyra, who had rushed in with the others. The shadows twisted violently, then began to vanish one by one, burned away by the pure energy. The largest one resisted. It stared at Ryan with red glowing eyes. Then it disappeared into a flash of blue. The room was still. "Is it over?" Jill asked. "For now," Lyra answered, still watching the empty space. "But they will return. They always do." Ryan walked up beside her. "And we'll be ready." She turned to him, her glow softer now. "Yes, together." After the trap worked, the academy finally started listening. The headmaster, a tall alien with blue skin and for eyes, called a private meeting with Ryan, Lyra, Maya, and Jill. Security officers were there too, but they didn't say much. They only listened. Ryan told the full story about the first night, about the shadows and how Lyra had protected him. Lyra explained how her people once faced these creatures long ago. Maya showed the data from the energy traps, and Jill added his part about the whispers and the fear. No one laughed. No one doubted them. For the first time, people believed. Why didn't the Academy warn us? Ryan asked. The headmaster looked tired. We thought the threat was gone. It hasn't been seen in over 100 years, and back then, it only targeted deep space stations. Well, now it's here, Maya said, and it's not finished. Lyra stood beside Ryan. The shadows fear the light, but they're learning. Next time, they will come stronger. The headmaster nodded slowly. We will prepare, and we will need your help. After the meeting, word spread across the academy. Students were scared at first, but once they learned that someone had already fought the shadows and survived, they started to hope. More joined the light circle. The group grew from 6 to 20, then 30. Each night, they placed more light traps. They mapped shadow paths and trained in rooms lit by energy crystals. Students took turns staying awake during the night, keeping watch over each other. Ryan and Lyra became the heart of the team. One evening, they sat together in the observation tower. The stars outside shone like diamonds, and the sky was quiet for now. Ryan leaned back in his chair. Do you think they'll ever be gone for good? Lyra shook her head. No, not forever. Shadows always return. But now we understand them, and we have you, Ryan said. She looked at him. You were the key, not me. Your mind was bright. They feared you. I was scared. But you still stood in front of them, Lyra said. That's what makes your light strong. There was silence for a while. Not heavy silence, but peaceful. The kind that made you feel safe. Then Lyra said something that surprised him. I didn't expect to like sharing a room. Ryan smiled. Neither did I. At first, I thought you didn't even want to look at me. I was afraid. She said, not of you, of myself. I had never been close to anyone outside my people. And then you were kind to me. You didn't push. You sat on my bed in the middle of the night, Ryan said, laughing. Yes, she said softly. I thought you would scream. I almost did. They both laughed quietly. Lyra leaned her head back, eyes on the stars. Her glow was calm now. No fear in it. Do you ever miss your planet? Ryan asked. Yes, the force, the blue grass, the way the wind sang through the hills. But here, I found something else. What? Someone who didn't run when the shadows came. Ryan didn't know what to say. Her words were simple, but they meant a lot. A soft alarm beeped on the table. Lyra checked it. Energy wave. Minor. North wing. Ryan stood up. Let's go. They hurried down the stairs and met Maya and Jill near the labs. The sensor was blinking red. Students had already cleared the hall. Trap ready? Ryan asked. Almost. Maya said, this one's different, stronger. They heard it before they saw it, a humming sound. Deep and sharp, like something drilling through silence. Then came the cold. The shadow appeared in the hallway. It was larger than before, shaped like a creature with a face and hands. Its eyes glowed dark red. It didn't stop moving. We have to act fast, Jill said. Set the trap, Ryan said. The group surrounded it, placing small devices in four corners. Lyra held the center crystal. As the shadow reached toward Ryan, she activated the field. Light exploded outward. The creature screamed, but this time it didn't vanish. It stayed inside the light, clawing at the edges. Why isn't it breaking? Maya asked. It's fighting harder, Lyra said. But it's trapped. The creature gave one final screech, then fell into itself and disappeared. The light faded. The hall was quiet again. Students nearby cheered. Not loudly, but enough to show relief. Ryan looked at Lyra. We're winning. Yes, she said. But we must keep learning. The shadows aren't finished. He nodded. Neither are we. 3 days passed without a single shadow. The academy slowly returned to normal. Classes continued. Light stayed on all night. Laughter returned to the halls. But the memory of fear was still fresh in everyone's mind. Ryan and Lyra continued leading the light circle. They trained new members, checked the sensors each night. and worked with the headmaster to build permanent light barriers around the school's weak spots. The bond between Ryan and Lyra had grown stronger. They didn't need to say much anymore. Just a glance, a look, or the energy through their linked bands told them everything. One evening, Ryan walked into the room holding 2 cups of hot drink. "I brought something for you," he said. Lyra looked up from her desk and smiled softly. "What is it?" "Mint tea. It helps humans relax," Ryan said, handing her a cup. She took it carefully and sniffed the steam. "It smells like the leaves on my home planet. We used to drink something like this during quiet nights. Then maybe you'll like it." She took a sip. Her glow brightened just a little. Ryan sat on his bed. "Hard to believe we started all this just because you were sitting here one night." Lyra nodded. "I felt the danger, but I never expected we would face it together. Or that you would trust me. You saved me first," Ryan said. "I just followed your lead." She looked at him. "No, you stood in front of the shadows when they called your name. Not many would do that." There was silence again, warm. Silence outside their room. A soft alarm beeped just once. Not a threat, only a check-in from the other teams. "All clear." Ryan leaned back. "Do you think they'll ever come back?" Lyra sipped her tea. "Maybe. Shadows are part of the universe. They find cracks and sneak through. But now they know we're ready." Ryan looked around the room. The walls were brighter now. No black marks. No silence. He'd even hung a few new drawings on his side, this time protected by a small energy frame. One was of a human and an alien standing side by side, holding a light crystal. "You know," he said slowly, "when I first got here, I thought having a roommate would be the worst part." Lyra raised one eyebrow. "And now it's the part I'll miss most when this year ends." She looked at him for a moment, then nodded. "Me too." Later that night, as Ryan drifted off to sleep, he felt a quiet movement, soft footsteps. Then, just like that first night, Lyra sat gently at the edge of his bed. Ryan opened one eye. "You okay?" "Yes," she whispered. "I just feel safer here." He smiled, too tired to speak. He moved slightly to make space. Lyra stayed near. Her glow dimmed but warm. No shadows came that night. No whispers. No fear. Just quiet breathing, steady and calm. By morning, the academy made an announcement. The Light Circle would become an official program. Students from other planets wanted to join. Humans and aliens would train together to fight the silence. Feeders wherever they appeared next. Ryan and Lyra were asked to lead the first team beyond the academy to travel to nearby stations and teach others how to sense, protect, and stand together. "You're becoming a legend." Maya joked as she handed Ryan his new uniform patch. "We're just 2 roommates." Ryan said with a smile. "To roommates who stopped a nightmare," Jill added. As Ryan packed his bag for the journey, he looked over at Lyra. She was folding her blanket again, neat and careful as always. She glanced at him. "We'll have a new room on the station," she said. "Hope the bed is soft," Ryan replied. "And I hope," Lyra added, "you don't mind if I sit there again." "Just in case." He grinned. "You can sit there whenever you want." She gave the smallest smile, then picked up her light crystal and placed it in her bag. They left the room together, stepping into the hall filled with other students who now looked at them with respect and hope. They weren't just a human and an alien anymore. They were something new, something strong. And as they walked side by side, one thing was clear: they would face whatever came next together.